Sometimes the people who want love the most are also the people most terrified of it. And honestly, that fear doesn't appear randomly. It slowly gets built after disappointment, after attachment, after giving too much of yourself to someone who eventually changed. Because at first nobody is scared. At first love feels exciting. Talking to someone till late night feels comforting. Seeing their notification changes the entire mood. Small moments feel special. Life starts feeling softer somehow. And without realizing it, a person slowly becomes emotionally attached. Their mind starts depending on one person for happiness, for reassurance, for emotional peace. But then, something changes. The energy becomes different. Replies become slower. Conversations start feeling dry. The effort slowly disappears. And the scary part is most people notice the change long before the relationship actually ends. That's why heartbreak feels so mentally exhausting. Because sometimes someone has to sit there and watch the person they love slowly become distant, and nothing hurts more than feeling someone change in front of your eyes while pretending everything is normal. That feeling changes people deeply. Sleep becomes difficult. Overthinking becomes constant. Even small things start affecting the mood. One dry text can ruin an entire day. One late reply can create anxiety for hours, and eventually the relationship ends. Or maybe the person leaves, or maybe they stay physically, but emotionally disappear completely. And after experiencing something like that, a person is never really the same again. Because heartbreak doesn't only create sadness, it creates fear. Fear of attachment, fear of abandonment, fear of trusting someone too deeply again. That's why after getting hurt badly, people start acting different without even realizing it. The emotionally open version disappears. The soft version disappears. Now they hesitate before replying fast. They hesitate before showing feelings. They hesitate before getting attached. Because their mind remembers exactly what happened last time. The sleepless nights, the emotional breakdowns, the feeling of begging someone for bare minimum effort. The feeling of becoming mentally exhausted because of one person. And after enough pain, love stops feeling peaceful. Now it feels risky. That's why some people suddenly become emotionally unavailable. Not because they enjoy being cold, but because closeness itself starts feeling dangerous. Because the closer someone gets, the more power they have to hurt. And honestly, most people hide this fear very well. They act detached, nonchalant, like nothing affects them anymore. But deep down, they still crave connection. They still miss the feeling of being understood by someone. They still want someone who stays consistently, someone who doesn't suddenly switch up, someone who makes love feel safe instead of stressful. But nowadays that feels rare, because this generation has normalized inconsistency so much that genuine connection feels almost unreal now. People disappear randomly, promises change quickly, feelings become temporary, and because of that, people are constantly emotionally guarded. Nobody wants to look too attached. Nobody wants to care more. Nobody wants to be the person who gets hurt again. So instead of loving honestly, people protect themselves emotionally. They pretend not to care. They hide feelings. They act distant even when they genuinely like someone. And slowly, everyone becomes harder to understand because behind almost every emotionally distant person, there's usually someone who got hurt deeply once. Someone who trusted fully once. Someone who believed effort and love were enough once until reality proved otherwise. And maybe that's why so many people feel emotionally tired now. Not physically tired, mentally tired. Tired of temporary connections. Tired of mixed signals. Tired of becoming attached to people who eventually leave anyway. At some point, a person starts asking themselves, what's even the point of getting close to anyone anymore? Because every time they start caring deeply, they lose mental peace instead. And that mindset slowly changes the way someone experiences love forever. Now, instead of enjoying the connection, their mind constantly searches for signs that something is wrong. A dry text feels suspicious. A late reply feels personal. A small energy change feels terrifying. Because after heartbreak, the brain becomes trained to expect abandonment, even during happy moments. And honestly, That's one of the saddest things emotional pain can do to a person. It makes safe situations feel unsafe. It makes genuine affection feel suspicious. It turns overthinking into a daily habit. And eventually, a person becomes so emotionally guarded that they don't even recognize themselves anymore. The old version, the one who loved freely, slowly disappears. Now everything feels controlled, careful, restricted. Even emotions start feeling monitored, because deep down, there's always that fear again. And because of that fear, some people start ruining good connections without even realizing it. Not intentionally, not because they're toxic, but because their mind is constantly trying to protect them from pain before the pain even happens. That's why sometimes a person can genuinely like someone and still push them away. They'll overthink small things, create emotional distance suddenly, reply dry for no reason, disappear for hours, act confused about their own feelings, because deep down, they're fighting two battles at the same time. One part of them wants love badly. The other part is terrified of what love can do to them emotionally. And living with both feelings together is exhausting, because humans naturally crave connection. No matter how emotionally cold someone acts, deep inside, almost everyone wants someone they can feel safe with. Someone who understands them without needing explanations all the time. Someone whose presence feels peaceful instead of stressful. But after experiencing heartbreak deeply, peace starts feeling unfamiliar. Chaos feels more familiar instead. Overthinking feels normal. Emotional instability feels expected. That's why healthy love can sometimes feel boring to emotionally damaged people, because their nervous system became addicted to uncertainty, to inconsistency, to emotional highs and lows, and they don't even realize it. That's the scary part. Pain can change someone so much that they start rejecting the very thing they once prayed for: a genuine connection, a stable person, a healthy relationship, because their brain keeps whispering, don't trust too much. Don't get attached. Don't depend on anyone. And slowly, love starts feeling less like comfort and more like something dangerous, something temporary, something that eventually disappears anyway. And honestly, that belief ruins more people emotionally than heartbreak itself. Because once someone fully convinces themselves that everybody leaves eventually, they stop allowing themselves to experience connection properly. They stop being emotionally present. They stop opening up honestly. They stop believing anyone could actually stay long term, and eventually they become lonely in ways nobody notices externally. They still talk to people, still laugh, still post normally, but internally they feel disconnected from everyone, because the fear of attachment keeps creating emotional walls constantly. And the worst thing about emotional walls is they don't only block pain, they also block genuine love. That's why some people secretly miss old versions of themselves, the version that used to care freely, the version that used to trust naturally, the version that didn't overthink every small change in behavior. Because before heartbreak, love felt simple. Now it feels mentally exhausting. Now every connection comes with anxiety attached to it. And maybe someone listening to this understands exactly what that feels like. Maybe someone got so hurt emotionally that even when good people enter their life now, their first instinct is still fear instead of comfort, because pain leaves memories behind. Not just emotional memories, physical ones too. The chest heaviness, the sleepless nights, the loss of appetite, the constant overthinking. That empty feeling after realizing someone you cared about deeply became a stranger. Experiences like that stay inside people for a long time, even after healing starts. And maybe that's why moving on isn't actually the hardest part. The hardest part is learning how to feel safe emotionally again afterward. Learning how to stop expecting disappointment from everyone. Learning how to believe that not every connection is temporary. Because when someone loses trust deeply, they stop fearing loneliness. They start fearing attachment itself, and that changes everything. Now instead of asking, do I like this person? Their mind asks, will this person hurt me later? That's why modern relationships feel so complicated now. Everybody wants loyalty. Everybody wants genuine love. But almost everyone is carrying unresolved pain from the past at the same time. So people enter relationships wanting connection, while also preparing emotionally for destruction, and those two things cannot peacefully exist together. Because real connection requires vulnerability, and vulnerability becomes terrifying after betrayal, especially when the betrayal came from someone once trusted completely, someone who once felt safe, someone who once promised forever. That kind of pain doesn't disappear quickly. It changes the way someone sees people afterward. Now trust becomes difficult. Consistency becomes attractive. Reassurance becomes important. Because after emotional damage, small acts of stability start meaning everything. A simple, I'm here. A consistent effort. A calm presence. Those things start feeling rare. And honestly, maybe that's all most people really want now. Not perfection. Not unrealistic romance. Just someone who doesn't make love feel confusing all the time. Maybe that's why so many people are emotionally tired now. Not because they stop believing in love,